I'd like to start today by saying I am disappointed. Today, I had hoped to announce an agreement with the ranking member on stablecoins legislation. This will not be the case. Instead, we will move forward with the bill that was originally noticed for today's markup, published at the beginning of June. To be clear, this was by no means the fault of the ranking member or her staff. They negotiated in good faith, and I want to commend them for their work over the last 15 months of negotiations. 15 months. Ranking Member Waters started these negotiations when she was chair of the committee, and continue to work with me when I became chair. We had the same teams working for the last 15 months together on it. Same team at Treasury, in fact. And I think it speaks to the urgency and importance of providing clarity for payment stablecoins. Unfortunately, there was a third party in this negotiations that did not share that same sense of urgency, the White House. A bipartisan deal was within reach. We were closer than we've ever been. A few small but nonetheless important provisions stood between us and a deal. It was the White House's unwillingness to compromise that has once again brought that negotiation to a halt. Notwithstanding that, negotiations within this chamber continued and within this committee. It's a shame, but at some point you have to put the pen down in a negotiation. I want to thank members, both Democrats and Republicans, who provided thoughtful feedback throughout that process and the process before us on the bill we're considering today. And I want to thank the many stakeholders who also weighed in. And I want to specifically commend New York Department of Financial Services Superintendent Adrienne Harris for her invaluable contributions. Thanks to her work, the bill before us today includes a true state pathway that builds on the highly successful New York state regime. This is a strong product that includes both Republican and Democratic feedback. I have confidence that it accomplishes our shared goal to provide a clear regulatory framework for the issuance of payment stablecoins, and I believe it deserves bipartisan support and bipartisan votes. Now, turning to other items on the agenda for today's markup, we'll consider Subcommittee Chair Warren Davidson's Keep Your Coins Act. Mr. Davidson has been a longtime advocate for the importance of self-custody and Americans' privacy rights. I appreciate his longstanding leadership on these issues and digital assets as a whole. Additionally, we'll consider a joint resolution from the Small Business Committee Chairman, Roger Williams, to use the Congressional Review Act to overturn the CFPB's disastrous small business lending data collection rule. Chairman Williams has been one of Congress's foremost champions for Americans' small businesses, both at the Financial Services Committee and the Small Business Committee. I thank him for his leadership and look forward to advancing the bill today. Finally, we'll mark up 4 packages to restore our free markets and bolster American competitiveness while protecting financial interests of everyday investors. For the past month, committee Republicans have prioritized getting politics out of corporate boardrooms. To be clear, this is not about injecting our own politics into businesses. It's about getting politics out altogether. And to address any concerns from my colleagues across the aisle, the bills we are considering today are about restoring our free markets and the free flow of capital. ESG mandates politicized capital allocation with the intent to force certain actions from American public companies. This leads to reduced returns for everyday investors and weaker economic growth by diverting executives' attention away from sound financial management. These bills, like those sponsored by Mr. Huizenga and Mr. Loudermilk, are designed to stop rogue regulators from forcing a left-wing agenda that my Democratic colleagues have been unable to pass in Congress. Additionally, we'll consider bills from Mr. Stile and Mr. Norman to restore the rights of shareholders by reforming the proposal process and delivering accountability and transparency to the proxy advisory industry. This has been a priority for a lot of our members, and these packages are made up of dozens of bills originally introduced by many of our Republican members, and I thank them for their thoughtful legislating.